There's a white powder sitting on store shelves right now for just $2, and it can pull your indoor temperature down by a full 10 degrees. This stuff bounces back 98% of every sun ray that hits it. It pushes out more cooling power than the AC unit humming in your home right now. Purdue University ran the tests. Guinness made it official. And this powder has been around for over 4,000 years. The ancient Greeks covered every wall they built with it. Romans worked it straight into their plaster. Every whitewashed village hugging the Mediterranean coast still depends on this same powder to get through summer. Then a $200 billion industry made a decision. That decision was that you should never know what it is called. They did not walk away from this powder because it let them down. They walked away because it worked too well. Something that wipes out your need for air conditioning at $2 ago cannot be marked up and sold back to you for hundreds of dollars. And anything standing in the way of profit gets quietly erased. This is the untold story of the most affordable cooling method humans ever figured out, and the two giant industries losing sleep right now because you might watch and share this video. Welcome to Hidden Trail Camping, the place where we pry open every vault the outdoor industry fights to keep sealed. If what we do here means something to you, hit subscribe right now and tap the bell so you never miss a vault we crack open. Back in 1973, a senior researcher at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory in California brush plane powdered limestone onto a flat rooftop. No fancy commercial product, just calcium carbonate ground into powder and stirred into water. The very same mixture Greek grandmothers have been slapping onto their island walls for 3,000 years. What happened next rewrote everything scientists thought they knew about cooling. That white roof ran 40 degrees cooler on its surface than the dark roof sitting right next to it. Inside the building, temperatures dropped 8 solid degrees. That structure ran through an entire summer without touching the air conditioning once. One $14 bag of hydrated lime from the hardware store beat a $5,000 AC system. But anyone who knows their history already knows this was not a fresh discovery. Step back to 1500 BC on the volcanic island of Crete. The Minoans had already worked this out. They burned local limestone, mixed the powder with water, and plastered every sun-facing wall pure white. Dark stone drinks in heat like an oven. They refused to let that happen. Inside their homes, temperatures held steady around 72 degrees all day long while the air outside cooked at 95. No wiring, no machinery. Just limestone, sunlight, and the simple physics of reflection. The method traveled. Santorini, Morocco, southern Spain, southern Italy. Millions upon millions of homes spanning thousands of years. All cooled by the same cheap white powder that cost almost nothing to produce. Then in 1902, Willis Carrier introduced what became modern residential air conditioning. Not because it outperformed the powder, but because it could be billed to you month after month. Lime has no recurring revenue model. You pick up a bag, stir it with water, roll it onto your roof, and it quietly does its job for years. No filters, no contracts, no electricity bill attached to it. The AC industry took one look at a $14 fix for the exact problem they were planning to charge you thousands to solve, and they moved to make sure that fix disappeared. Stick with me, because the science underneath this old powder hits even harder than the history. In 2021, Professor Xiulin Ruan at Purdue University in Indiana built a paint formula that sent shockwaves through the entire coatings industry. The whitest paint ever documented. It throws back 98.1% of every ray of sunlight landing on it. Standard commercial white tops out around 80%. But a surface wearing this formula does not just resist heat on a scorching afternoon. It actually runs cooler than the open air around it. Midday readings showed the surface sitting 8 degrees below air temperature. After dark, that gap stretched to 19 degrees. Ruan ran the numbers and found that coating 1,000 square feet of rooftop produces a sustained cooling output of 10 kilowatts. That beats the central air conditioning system in the average home, and draws absolutely 0 watts of power to do it. The Guinness Book of World Records stamped it as the whitest surface ever made. Peer-reviewed journals backed it up. CNN covered it. The Smithsonian published on it. Science outlets around the world picked up the story. And then, very quietly, almost nothing in the industry moved an inch. The global paint market pulls in over $200 billion every single year. Sherwin-Williams, PPG Industries, household names. Their entire business model is built on paint that breaks down in 5 to 7 years, so you come back and buy again. A lime wash that holds for decades and makes air conditioning unnecessary is a direct threat to two industries at the same time. Stack those industries together, and you're looking at more than $300 billion in yearly revenue on the line. You cannot put a patent on limestone. You cannot own calcium hydroxide or charge a subscription for a powder that anyone can grab off a shelf for $7. And whatever you cannot lock down and control, you bury. Homeowner associations across dozens of states have written rules that flat out ban white or highly reflective roofing. They push for earth tones, dark browns, and charcoal grays, the precise shades that pull in the most solar heat and make sure you cannot survive summer without air conditioning. It is all sitting there in the HOA rulebooks. Go look. The roofing industry built its standards around commercial materials that wear out on schedule and keep the revenue flowing. A $14 bag of lime never made anyone in that industry a single dollar. So they made sure it was never part of the conversation. If you're still here, you now understand passive cooling better than 99% of the population. Subscribe and pass this along to someone who deserves to know what these corporations quietly buried. What comes next is what they really do not want leaving this room. And I want to be straight with you. Lime paint is not a magic fix for every surface on Earth. It breaks down faster than synthetic commercial roof coatings. You will need to reapply it every year or two. But that is precisely how the generations before us handled it. Every spring, a fresh coat, a couple of hours, a couple of dollars, and their home stayed cool all summer long without a single machine running. Here is exactly how you act on this right now. Walk into any hardware store and pick up a 50-pound bag of type S hydrated lime. You will pay somewhere between $7 and $14. Pour the powder into water and stir it until it looks like thin milk, roughly 1 part lime to 2 parts water. Take a thick roller or a wide brush and work 2 full coats onto your roof surface. Let the first coat sit overnight before you go back in. Total spend for an average roof sits between $14 and $28. Total time investment, 1 afternoon. A homeowner down in Texas followed these exact steps. His attic temperature fell from 140 degrees all the way down to 97. His whole home indoor temperature dropped 10 degrees. His AC unit barely woke up that entire summer. He tallied up the savings at over $1,200 in electricity from just 2 bags of powder in a single year. Now hold that against a new AC installation. Anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 up front. Electric bills running $150 or more every month after that. Against 2 bags of lime and 1 afternoon of your time per year. Zero electricity. The Greeks landed on this answer before written language existed. The Romans used it to keep whole cities livable. Professor Ruan's lab proved it goes head-to-head with modern air, conditioning, and winds. $300 billion in annual revenue is counting on you staying in the dark. But you just stepped into the light. This knowledge was never actually lost. It was buried beneath $200 billion worth of advertising and building codes drafted by people whose income depends on you staying hot. The powder is still sitting on the shelf at your hardware store right now. $7 to $14. No gatekeeping. Your great-grandmother knew exactly what to do with it every spring. Science has now confirmed what history already established thousands of years ago. The industry spent decades engineering your forgetting. But today, right here on Hidden Trail Camping, you just remembered. If this vault cracked something open for you, subscribe and share it forward. Every person you send this to is one more piece of what they tried to erase being brought back to life. The next vault is coming soon, and what we found inside it hits even harder than this one.